Recording in progress.
It is the 87th episode of Wayne's World and Kelly. And by popular demand, we brought Bobby Lozano back, the president and founder and superdog of ECI. He is the premier, they call him the asbestos man. He knows all things asbestos. He's pretty sharp with mold too. So but he's also an all-around great guy, and we consider him a personal friend. And wanted to have him back on the show because, you know, he's a wealth of knowledge and experience, even though he's the youngest guy on the show. In this group, that's easy. But Robert, welcome back to the show, man. We're glad to have you back. How's everything doing?
It's a pleasure to be back. It's always good to see you again, Wayne and Kelly. You know, you two of my favorite people on YouTube right now.
Welcome back. Yes. Good to see you again.
You're
Bobby.
one of my favorite Mexicans. So can you speak something in Spanish so people can find out you really are a Mexican?
Oh, Kelly, you're putting me on the spot. Pero si tú vienes a mi casa, yo te invito a un cena de un pozole y yo mismo hago los tortillas si quieres.
The first time I saw him speak Spanish, I went, "Are you kidding me?" He goes, "Dude, I'm a Mexican." I'm like, "No way." He looks more gringo than I do.
You know, it is a blessing here in South Florida to, you know, have this complexion and be able to speak dual languages. And, you know, I get a lot of comments when I'm in elevators and stuff, you know, like, que guapo, que simpático. Those are two words you probably won't hear all that often, Kelly, but if you do, you'll know it.
Can you say what they are?
A guapo means handsome. Simpático means like a suave, like a darling, everything short of papi.
Well, they're talking about your son on the elevator, I guess.
You know, they do think that we're brothers sometimes, ironically, but you know, he's got that full mountain man beard, which unfortunately in my industry we're not allowed to have beards. So
right.
I didn't know that.
But
well, because they wear these serious masks with respirators in them, and so you have to make a good connection. I thought it was pretty funny during that COVID thing when all these people were wearing masks with beards, and it's like, you know, I don't think the mask was doing a whole lot anyway, except for depriving people of important oxygen. But the fact that they all were sporting facial hair, especially some of those women, just kidding. And it's like, you're not keeping anything out. Your hair's not working there. So yeah. So you're allowed to have mustache, you just can't have beards, correct?
That is correct. And I unfortunately do not have the ability to grow one of those mustaches, nor beards. It comes out splotchy. I think my grandmother had a better beard than me. But she was Mexican. And
man,
she was actually from Michoacan, Mexico, which is you know, they call them campesinos. So she was actually born and raised in a hacienda.
Oh wow.
Yeah, of European descent. So that's kind of where I got some of this complexion from. But you know,
I love the culture.
I love the culinary aspect of it, and you know, they're all around great people.
So I know if we talked about your culinary expertise last time, and the Spice King was somebody who considers you a mentor, which what a compliment, because he's killing it out there worldwide with his Spice King products, and we had him on the show. But I originally met him through you. But what is your specialty when it comes to chicken?
You know what, Kelly? Well, I've been known to make a mean jerk chicken. So from scratch, when I first came here to Florida, I couldn't find decent Mexican food. So I gravitated towards the Peruvian food and the Jamaican food because of the earthiness and the powerful flavors. But, you know, I took on this secondary persona of being, you know, the jerk king.
Yeah. So I had this jerk over, Wayne, a couple of times. We had these parties over here. And even though Robert's a good friend and we do business and stuff together, I also do love how good he cooks. So he volunteers, like, "Hey man, I'll come over and cook." So he gets this chicken ready for days. What is it, a 9-foot or a 10-foot grill you've got?
Yeah, it's about 8.5 feet. It is massive. But I enjoy cooking for people.
So where I live, you know, it's a U-shaped little condo area with a pool, and then he puts the grill behind a white fence. Nobody can see what's going on behind our white fence and our hedges. So he starts cooking. Next thing you know, you got these people from blocks away, and they're peeking in behind through the door to see what's going on, because he is flavorizing the neighborhood with the most incredible smelling chicken. Very, very cool events that we've done over here. We got to do it again, I guess, in the fall.
I would absolutely love to. And you know what makes that culinary thing so special is that they cook it on pimento wood, which is very difficult to procure here in South Florida. And I managed to have access to about 7 of them, which is the part of the allspice tree. It's just like mesquite is indigenous to barbecue type. The Jamaican culinary cuisine uses pimento wood. And as far as I'm aware, I'm the only one here in South Florida that cooks on that wood, but it's definitely distinguished and noticeable. And you're right, when I cook, people will smell it long before they see it.
It is good. So some of our neighbors, I would bring over a bunch of people in the industry and we'd have a party from our old dinner club that we used to do. And, so Robert did this, and some of the neighbors went ahead and partook in the chicken, and they talk about them to this day. And it's been a while since we did it the last time. But matter of fact, all the snowbirds are all leaving, and they were mentioning about a month ago, hey, we heard about you got this friend. I'm like, sorry, guys, we do that when you're not here.
I try not to be a jerk to everybody.
Well, we're jerking chicken for God's sakes, but no, it really is. It's Robert's the type of guy that when he does something, he doesn't do it halfway. Everything he does 100%. Now, when it comes to chicken, it's a culinary delight. When it comes to him dealing with asbestos in buildings, you've got to be anal retentive because he's dealing with people's lives. He's upsetting the asbestos, and if it goes airborne and away into the units, it could have a terrible effect. So his level of detail, which I've witnessed several times, is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's impressive. I used to be in the mold business, and so I got an idea of how important it is. But when he takes it to that level for asbestos, it's a sight to be seen, and it should be valued. We were talking about it at one point where clients always sitting there trying to, everybody wants, what I say, they want a Lexus, but they want I said a Volvo. They want a Volvo, but they want to pay for a Hyundai. Guess what? You're getting a Hyundai. When it comes to protecting the air quality in your buildings, when you're removing asbestos, or even your own house or condo or whatever, you can't get somebody more meticulous than Robert, because he values what he's doing. He knows the effect that he could have on people if he doesn't do his job perfect, and his team doesn't do it perfect. So you want to elaborate on that huge praise I just gave? It's almost like an advertisement, and this is not an infomercial.
No, by no means. But no, Kelly, you're absolutely right. It is such a particular type of industry that where the liability has legs on it, which it can extend for years and years and years. And, you and I were talking about, quality. And, we are not the world's largest contractor, nor do we intend to be. We try to provide just excellent service and take on what was within our capabilities. But as the owner, I actually give my own personal attention to every single project. And, they have to be designed properly. There has to be good teamwork on behalf of not only the condo association managers, building engineers, but also the tenants. And we like to have town hall meetings, which the condo association managers are finding to be, by being open and honest and dispelling any rumors, because, asbestos has unfortunately got such a negative connotation, and for reasons that are rightfully so. But, when explained, and it reduces the fear, and people get an educated answer. And I take as much time as necessary until their questions are all answered and their cup is full. But it's that type of quality and service that in any industry, not only just mine, but as well as yours and Wayne's. I mean, I've been on your projects, Kelly, and my gosh, your people are just top notch. They look at you in the eyes, they give you undivided attention. And as a business owner and as a client and as a customer, I appreciate that type of quality service. And I think that's what's lacking in our industry. And you've had fantastic guests on your shows, and people that I've known personally or through one degree of separation, but all stellar professionals. And it's so refreshing to be part of a group and to be recognized as being part of a group. And the fact that you and Wayne are able to bring these talented, quality people together, that to me, that's priceless. You can't put a number on that. It's well worth whatever it is you spend on them.
Robert,
There's an
I
old
got a
saying
question.
that says, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. It's the same way in business. I always love to step on Wayne, but I wanted to put that out there real quick because it's so true. And, you know, in our business, we present a bunch of options in every category. And then we vet everybody real time. You know, it's funny. One of our mutual friends, we were having them take a look at a project, and he says, dude, we've already done a couple projects with you guys. Why are you guys vetting us so hard? Because we vet everybody real time. We want to make sure that, you know, that you can't live on yesterday's laurels, and you know, you got to keep on top on your game. You got to be so on top of it all the time. But I like the fact that we all and all of our guests, they're very, no one's in the business for making money. There's some people that have been very successful on our show, but they do it because they care and they're passionate about what they do and how they do it. Let's pause and so Wayne could jump in.
Yeah, so I remember actually today is my 22nd anniversary at American Building Contractors. Okay. And I remember about 20 years ago, mold was the big buzzword in the industry. And correct me if I'm wrong, both of you guys, but it doesn't seem like that really got the legs that a lot of people thought it would, is compared obviously to asbestos. Is that true, Robert? Did it start out really big and everybody thought that would be the next thing to go into as far as remediation part? And where are we at on that? Give me your opinions.
There's definitely some truth to that, Wayne. I do remember that old analogy, you know, mold is gold. And
I was going to say that. Yep.
Yep. And, you know, I think it was a double-edged sword because, you know, mold is really a common sense approach to it. You remove the water, you know, moisture, and you don't have mold growth. But it also put a lot of fear into people about, you know, the chances of them passing away. And, you know, mold is not a toxic element. It's not written anywhere in any governmental agencies that it's toxic. It's an allergen. The industry has ebbed and flowed over the course of the years. But what we're finding out now recently, I'd have to say about 25% of my business is about mold right now, 75% asbestos. But it's inching up on the mold aspect is because due to the unfortunate events that happened in Surfside, there's been a lot of enforcement in the governmental and regulatory agencies. And now for mold, we're discovering mold that's on asbestos sheetrock or asbestos drywall joint compound. So it's now becoming an issue where they've tightened up on how to obtain permits. You got to have an asbestos survey even for drywall replacement. And so a lot of these restoration contractors can now no longer touch it because of the asbestos element in it. So, and we were just fortunate to be able to have both, but we've done mold and asbestos in commercial as well as residential properties. So it's waning, but it's still there. There'll always be people that are concerned about indoor air qualities. I do have a lot of newborn mothers lately who are really, really preoccupied with that. And
mothers of newborns, not newborn mothers.
Oh, thank you, Kaye.
But let me elaborate on Robert's response, because I think I probably was Robert's been in asbestos forever, but I was in mold before Robert was in mold. So what happened probably about, I mean, I'm really bad with years now because time flies, maybe 10, 12 years ago, maybe even longer, the federal government did come out with rules regarding how you had to deal with mold, just like you had to deal with asbestos. The difference is enforcement. They realized once they put out all these mandates and all these rules that you had to follow, that they didn't have the capability to enforce it. And you had, and it was a big problem. And I remember working with some of the Philadelphia inspector when I was working out of the DC market. And that's how spread thin they were. And we had a very honest conversation saying this isn't going to work until you can enforce it. But what Robert said, you know, with asbestos, it's finite. If it gets into somebody's lungs at a certain point, it's going to take them out. It's a very long gestation period. Mold could affect the three of us differently. I am allergic to mold. I'm allergic to almost everything. I'm like a tester. And there's actually testing machines that can do the air quality instantly, called the Instascope. Very brilliant piece of technology, and it counts the mold spores in the air. And I could just walk in and you don't need the tester. But the difference is I don't get deathly ill. I know people that have they've lost their hearing. I know a girl that because of the medication they put her on from having a really bad response from it, had some others very severe health issues. But you line up 10 people, it's not, everyone's gonna be affected differently. Some very severe, some not, almost not at all. It's just the genetic makeup we are. With asbestos, you don't have that luxury. So like when Robert removes mold out of a house or a building, there's no regulation once he gets rid of it. They have to track asbestos bags forever. Yeah, so that's, but you're right. I love the way you used it. It's an allergen. It's not a carcinogen.
Well, I mean, it bankrupted W.R. Grace. I mean, Robert, are there still payouts regarding claims that are continually being filed regarding the harmful effects of asbestos for folks?
There are still payouts that are occurring, Wayne, but those numbers are diminishing. And, as with any lawsuits, and I'm sure we've, seen in news recently that the attorneys get the majority of the monies, and whatever is left is passed on to, the survivors, which is, after 20, 30 years and on your deathbed, a $50,000 award isn't going to get you very far. And,
Yeah.
and ironically,
Especially if you're dead.
Yeah, true. And there are horrible stories about that go along with it. The United States just recently, people have this conception that, after 1985, buildings don't have asbestos. The United States just last week, 2 weeks ago, finally completely banned the use of asbestos in the United States with a 2-year lag period, which means that if a contractor still has asbestos, he's still able to use what he has in stock for the next 2 years. But after that, no more items are going to be utilized in the United States. I mean, we're currently at about 650 tons of import, and that's going to drop down to 0. So, 93 developed countries throughout the world have banned asbestos, and the United States is now numbered 94. So,
any particular reason why you could pinpoint with how long this has been going on, and now it's 2024 and it's finally arrived at that?
Financial reasons, it's still such a wonderful product. The chloralkali industry, which manufactures bleach and highly acidic materials, still has yet to find an alternative product for asbestos. So it's the only thing that can withstand the causticity or caustic element of bleaches and acids. So, but the government is kind of forcing their hand to it. But they were the last man standing that was fighting to keep it to be used in their industry. And believe it or not, you were still allowed to install it in brakes and in clutches and in some types of mastic. So it's still out there. And so people say, how much longer am I going to be removing asbestos? I mean, I still see several generations worth.
Oh my God, I know that many. Wow.
Yeah, Wayne, I go into buildings and sometimes they only do the hallways and they'll leave the last 6 inches so they can put a soffit to put their sprinklers in there, and that material will always remain there. So I know they're always that close to removing it and they don't.
And as long as it's not disturbed, it's okay. So that's one of the neat things when Robert will go out and he'll assess a building and he'll sit there and tell them, listen, I can remove it. It's going to be this much money. You can also encapsulate it. You can just put drywall above it. And even if it's breaking loose a little bit, as long as it's encapsulated in that drywall, then it's not going to hurt anybody. So, but like you said, at a certain point, they're going to be removed. But you can delay it. And people make financial decisions and health decisions. I mean, he's not, the only way he advises it correctly, I'm saying, is that if it is going to, if the people are going to be protected by using an alternative method. But sometimes encapsulation is the way to go.
Yeah, but we pride ourselves in trying to give people their options to things, and we're not trying to upsell them. This is just the reality of your choices. But you're right, Kelly. It's either removal, enclosure, like you said, cover it with a sheetrock or other type of sealing, or encapsulation. And sometimes they want to encapsulate and do little spot removals, but by the time you get through a hallway and put 3,000 holes in there, you were just better off scraping the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah, but we try to cost value
scale.
This.
Yeah, and that's you do a cost benefit analysis and figure out what's the best move for you. But with other things, it's cost benefit analysis. On this one, it's cost benefit analysis using safety as your main barometer. So I don't want to talk too much about asbestos, but it really is. I find it very fascinating. But
It is fascinating.
so because Robert has a lot of other, he's a grandparent now.
Yes, my daughter-in-law was kind enough and son was kind enough to bestow upon me a 2-year-old grandson. So great kid, great kid.
Yeah,
Well-mannered, well-behaved.
I love it.
If I didn't have a grandkid, I'd have a cat.
I got one right here, right here, sitting on my lap.
My
I don't have a
granddaughter's
grandkid
name's,
yet.
my granddaughter's name's Callaway.
Ah, look at that. Big, oh, not the Big Bertha?
She's only a year old.
Oh, gotcha.
Come on,
Well,
my
that is a club,
granddaughter.
Kelly. I'm not a golfer, but I knew that.
Well, someone goes, if she has another kid, she's gonna name it Titleist.
Come on.
I don't know. I just think it's an adorable Callie. It's such an adorable name for a little girl.
It is.
Mr. Kelly, have you been noticing an influx in construction in your field of work, like in project managing? Do you see quite a bit going on in the South Florida region? Because I'm seeing the changes by the day.
I remember when I moved here 5 years ago, over 5 years ago. I went to an event and things were moving pretty good, right? And then the following year, I went to the same event and they go, the way they got people there was, there's a terminology for it. What's the future climate of the construction industry? And I remember some local big time construction people going, well, we're seeing a lot less cranes in the air than we did a year ago. So we're watching it slow down a little bit. And, then the economy changed, different things shifted. South Florida became like the #1 destination for everybody to live. And real estate's gone up, but it's amazing. New starts. And then of course, because of what happened at Surfside, we have a ton of buildings that are being updated and made safe. I mean, there's so much work out there right now. It's absolutely incredible. And we're more, I want to say we're choosier than what we were doing 4 years ago. All the buildings need to be taken care of. But boy, you got to take the temperature of the client at this point, because we want to have a successful outcome. So the biggest things that we're looking for with clients are ones that can make good, timely, intelligent decisions with information that we give them. For you, I'm sure people line up that need to get asbestos removed, and some people they'll say, okay, let's go. And then sometimes you hear from them a year later going, hey, Robert, is that proposal still good? And you're like, sorry, I'm paying people more because it costs more for them to survive, blah, 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 blah. But
Right.
I think we're going to be busy for the next 10 plus years without even I was up in Val Harbor today, and with James LeGrec and I went and saw a project, and we're on top of this big parking garage, and there's just buildings, 365 degrees, and I go, you're never retiring, buddy.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, but we love what we do. We're all passionate about what we do, but we like to do quality work. And, and I think, and that's what we surround ourselves by. But it's frustrating when people try to cut corners, because it never saves them. It always costs them.
Kelly, that there's the truth to that. And what I'm finding to be truth is running in the circles that we run in. And, you've introduced me to some wonderful, wonderful people, wonderful condo association managers. We actually do very little marketing and very little advertising. And a lot of it is word of mouth, because when you do work for, say, Castle Group, and, other condo association managers will reach out, and I'm just using them by example, but they're a fantastic firm. I think they're great.
We're just going to get in trouble. Go ahead.
Don't mean to drop names on anybody in particular, but they're just a good group. But they
KW.
Oh yeah, all of them. They're everybody that I've been experienced with is all, whereas names aren't mentioned, they're all part of this wonderful group of people where, they're referring because based on previous experience and the quality of the job, and you're able to negotiate projects, and it's not always the lowest bid. It's just a good, fair price. And I have to admit, the jobs that we've been on a run with lately, fantastic teamwork. I've been leaving great Google reviews about them, because it's just the teamwork, the professionalism, the communication. It's it's really been a dream for me to do. Just good all around people. And it's refreshing, because when I came here to Florida, it was not that way. It was all financially driven, and, you know,
Yeah.
it was different market, but, you know, we're up at this upper echelon now, and I'm proud to be a part of the group and to know the professionals that I do.
That's what I want. And I was thinking about it today about, I do a little mental pre-gaming because we don't do any pre-gaming for the show, but you came here for Andrew and never left, right?
That is correct. 12 days after Hurricane Andrew, I had, but the second day I had to drive down to Homestead, and there were no street signs. I had a Rand McNally map book, and I could find my way through.
Rand McNally, that's a blasphemy. For you young people, that's what we used to use before GPS was actually paper. You would
Before MapQuest.
I was
now
just
out in
gonna say
California, we
MapQuest,
used
yeah.
to use a different one. I'm blanking on the name.
Oh,
Oh, it was it was a book, and it was a book of, and the maps all fit together, and I'm blanking on the name of it. But boy, that if anybody wants to send it, I'll give you a
I can get it.
It was brilliant, but no, it's fascinating how many people I've met since, because I'm a rookie here, you know, 5+ years. How many people that came here for Andrew and never left. Now, my buddy Greg Orndorff came down here and worked for like a year and a half. And then he went back to Northern Virginia with the family business, and now is finally slowing down, you know, 30 years later. What year was Andrew? 1980?
92.
92.
Andrew was
92.
92. Yep.
Jeez. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just so long ago.
Yeah, but you know what, Kelly? After you've been here all this time, you start becoming a fabric of the community. I mean, you know, we drive down the road now, and we worked on that job, historical project, and it's, you know, it's a part of our repertoire and part of our history, and I'm proud of it. You know, my field of work allows me to go into the history and in the depths of buildings that people generally don't have access to, because, you know, whereas sometimes asbestos is out in the open, there's other times it's behind walls and vaults and, you know, in rooms that haven't been accessed since the 1950s. So, you know, it's always fascinating and always something very, very interesting to find.
Yeah, I love it.
And again,
But I think South Florida is a very welcoming area because of how many people have moved here versus how many people actually lived here, you know, 30, 40 years ago. So I find it very welcoming. I appreciate that. So I feel like a local now. And I'm not moving, so they're stuck with me.
No, neither am I. I'm quite content where I'm at. You know, you know, and Wayne, welcome to Florida. I hope you find it much warmer weather than where you were before. Good.
It's paradise.
You know, Wayne, do you find yourself visiting the beach all that often? I mean, because I've been here 20+ years, 30 years, and I go to the beach once every 6 months.
I try to go as often as possible.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean, hands down. We had vacationed here for 25 years, and to be able to do that every day, I feel like I won the lottery. Again, I'm not going anywhere.
Good.
You see,
welcome.
Bobby's not real good about being the beach person. I, on the other hand, I'm more like Wayne. I go walking either early in the morning or late in the evening, and I always do my visit to the ocean during that. I just find it it cleanses the mind and the soul, you know, and it's massive and powerful and the most beautiful thing on the earth.
Yeah, the meditative qualities of the ocean, whether you walk on it or you're on the beach and you're just seeking a quiet peace of mind.
You're not saying you're
right
Moses.
there.
You mean walking on the beach, not on the ocean.
Yes.
Okay,
there's
now
something very enjoyable.
I know it was a river. I'm just making it as water. Okay. I love it.
It's always enjoyable to drive down US 1 and pull over by Haulover and just, you know, enjoy the beach for a few moments. And I'm, you know, I like the fact that we have that independence and that ability just to stop for a half hour and enjoy the moments, you know, and, you know, we're just, how does my son put it? We work where others vacation.
Right? Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
right.
I agree. Actually, I just had somebody call in and they said it was the Black Sea that Moses parted. So it was ocean sea-ish. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
It was the Red Sea, dude. It wasn't the Black Sea. It was the Red Sea.
It was the Red Sea part of the Red Sea. You're right. I'm colorblind.
Well, okay, then I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. If you're colorblind, Robert and I will tell you your face is orange.
It's just the light. You know what I forgot to do is I always darken the studio before I do this. And I forgot to hit the because we're doing this a day before. Let's see if anybody notices. We record every Wednesday morning and immediately go on. Today's Tuesday. Well, guess what? We're doing it next week too. Because before we close, because there's expos. L&L is doing their expo in Broward tomorrow, and after that, over at quarter deck will be a happy hour from 3 to 7. Everyone's welcome. It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be a great show. James LaGreca is teaching a class tomorrow morning for LGC. I'm excited about that. It's between 9 and 11. You can still register by going to just Google Broward HOA condo expo, and it'll come up and you can register. And if you don't register, just come on in and we'll get you in anyway. Plenty of seats. We have 35 people registered right now, so there'll be space.
Nice.
I'll be
And
there.
then
I
next
look
week
forward to seeing
there's a
everybody.
Palm Beach show.
I said I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow because I will be attending.
Yeah, you better be.
I
So
will.
it'll be a good time. So Robert, it's time flew. We're past time again as usual.
Wow, that was fast.
Maybe next week, you guys can wear something other than t-shirts. I didn't say we're supposed to be formal, but my gosh, guys can at least get a collar.
All right, you're right. Collar next week for sure. Robert, thank you for coming on again. It's
Always my
always good to
pleasure.
see you.
You
Always
guys
good
are
to see you.
fantastic. Yeah, I
Thank you, sir.
appreciate you guys. Wayne, Kelly, you guys are always amazing, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. And may you both be safe and healthy. And jerk on, Kelly.
We'll see you both.
Take care. Bye.